Welcome to the Beauty in Battle podcast, where we talk about winning in marriage by waging a war. I'm Jason Benham. I've got my girlfriend / wife, Tori Benham, with me, and we are here to talk to you about how Satan tries to get you to fight face to face with your spouse, but God designed you to fight shoulder to shoulder against Satan so that you can win in your marriage. Fighting together draws you together. We cannot wait to jump in. So here we go. Okay, so today we're going to talk about marriage best practices. And what we mean by this is things that we've heard from people, things that we've read, and stuff that we've actually tried on our own. Best practices in marriage, just little things. We're going to list 7 of them for you. There's a gajillion marriage best practices. Gajillion. You know, it is funny because as I built my businesses starting back in 2002 with my brother, we would always go to these conferences every year, these real estate conferences. Mm-hmm. And one of the breakout sessions that they always had every year was real estate best practices.
Yeah. In
terms of the specific type of real estate. And then you would get together in a group of, you know, oftentimes 300 to 400 people, and they'd have an open mic and they say, what are some things that you've done that have helped you build your real estate business? And people go up to the microphone, you know, I hired a virtual assistant out of the Philippines. Everybody's writing down. They're like, okay, where did you find him? And he's like, go to this website. And that's marriage. It's best practices, you know, for building a business. So why can't we talk about that with marriage?
I agree.
So that's what we're going to do today.
Let's do it. But before we do, let's talk about a song that we really like.
Oh, yeah.
You guys should listen to together.
You got one for us?
I got one. Here we go.
Okay.
After all this time, you'd think I'd be used to the pull of your gravity. After flying so high for so long, who would think I'm still learning, still burning, still falling?
I like that.
Still learning, still burning, still falling.
But you didn't tell us who it was.
It's Hunter Hayes, Still Falling.
Yeah.
It's so good though, because it's so true. Like, you have to do what it takes to stir that up. The thing that stirred you up to begin with, keep on doing it. Still burning, still learning, still falling.
It's being very proactive in your marriage. That's why we're talking marriage best practices today.
And this is why we love good country or any kind of love song, because it helps you. Words are so powerful, and it helps you to think things like you thought when you were dating, and it helps you to think about your spouse and to think loving thoughts. And that's important in marriage.
Yeah. Well, you know, while you were listening to that song, were you feeling something for me? Were you? Or you is it just easy to say it on a podcast?
I'm feeling it.
Okay, so typically I lead the little listicles and all, but I told Tori I don't want to do that today because she came up with most of these. Actually, she's, you know, we
did it together.
We've read a lot, you know, so these aren't all our own or whatever, but you know, and some of them are just very simple things, and so we just figured we'd share them with you.
We've learned a lot from just having a lot of couples over and talking to them, and these are things that come up. And these are things that we really feel like are really good practices.
That does bring up a good point, though. Like if you're going out for, you know, a double date, or you're out, you know, a party or whatever, and you guys are all talking together, just ask each other, what is it that you do in your relationship to keep it strong?
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Okay. You want me to start?
I do.
Okay. So number 1, pray together.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
Pray together. And there's so many reasons why this is so important. But I think one of the reasons is, we talk about it in the retreats that we've done and in our book, that there are 3 battles, right?
Yeah.
Personal, relational, and kingdom.
Yeah.
And it's so important for us to get outside of ourselves and to be in the kingdom battle. And to do that, it's important. Go ahead.
Can I say with the 3R real quick? I mean, just we don't want to insult your intelligence. This is in our book, but the personal battle is the fight over sin, temptation. Relational battle is a fight with other people. The kingdom battle is fighting for people, like fighting for the hearts and souls of people.
Yeah. And prayer helps you to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're going to pray together. We're not just going to pray about all things that we need, all things that we want, and all about us. But let's pray about things that are important to God. Let's pray for the unborn. Let's pray for the issues of our days. And so it helps us to get outside of our little, relational tension, our little personal issues, and to think bigger.
I love that because, and that was the one that Tori's like, we have to pray together. And, my first thought is, of course, like everybody knows you're supposed to pray together. But let's just think about that for a second, because praying together about things, like really going after God together verbally, like out loud, is a vulnerable place to be, because you might not feel like you're a good prayer. Yeah. I know couples right now, one partner will always pray, the other won't. Just because that's just the way that they've slipped into that comfortable place. But really, both partners need to pray. Like, so Tori and I decided that we were going to start walking around the block. We do a mile walk around the block. And while we're walking, we're talking, but we're also spending some time praying. And when we pray together, Tori's, honestly, when it comes to conversational prayer, Tori is a much better prayer than me. She thinks of stuff. It's like, let's pray for the kids. Lord, help Trey, Allie, Jake, and Lundy. Help them, Lord. Help them. Help them.
That's so not true.
Just
That's so
help
funny
them.
you say that, because I have always felt like you're so much better of a prayer. Like, if we're going to pray in front of people, I'm like nudging Jason.
Yeah, that's just because I know how to speak and stuff, and you do too. But still, like conversational prayer, when we're walking around the block, if Tori tells me to pray for the kids, I'll pray for them, but I'm lasting probably 2 to 3 minutes, and I feel as though I've exhausted my resource. Yeah. But Tori, on the other hand, literally can pray for the kids the entire mile.
It's such a good practice. I mean, it's something sometimes you have to practice. Like, okay, we've got this time. Let's dig into some prayer.
And she's right, though. It's not just praying about your own relationship and even your kids. It's opening it up. It's like the Lord tells us in the Bible, we're supposed to pray for our governing leaders. Mm-hmm. I mean, pray for them. Yeah. Salvation for the Biden family, salvation for the Harris family, and pray for your local state reps. Obviously pray for, whatever, nonprofit type situation that the Lord has put on your heart and mind, whatever, community you're involved with and in, just pray for everything. And when you do that, when 2 or more are gathered, you and your spouse are being the church.
Yeah.
And that's where God's presence come. And when you have God's presence, you have his power.
Yeah.
So just praying together, the very act of it makes you more powerful as a couple.
Yeah. It's so good. So
Marriage
true.
best practice number 1.
Pray together.
Pray together.
Number 2, celebrate wins.
Yeah. This one's hard.
It is hard. It's a practice.
Tori did this morning.
It's best marriage practice, which means you got to practice.
Good point. Tori just did this morning.
Yeah. And I think, the Lord really showed me this in Genesis. We've talked about this before, just watching God's process of creation and how he celebrated every step.
He did. It is good.
Yep. So he created, I don't have the
1/6 of the way. He's like, let there be light. He's only 1/6 of the way done with creation. What does he say? It's good.
And he looked and he saw that it was good.
Yeah.
In my translation, it says, and he saw that it was good.
Yeah.
He saw over and over and over. He stopped every step and said, and he saw that it was good. Mm-hmm. We've got to see that the little things that we're doing are good.
Yeah.
We have to celebrate the little things, because that's what motivates us and keeps us going, keeps us energized to keep going. And this is something that I think you're really, really good at, and you've taught me really well. You're really good at verbalizing. You know what? That was so fun when we got to do this, and when we completed that. I'm really glad we did that. That was so good. And I've really been more intentional of celebrating the little wins.
Yeah.
And it's been a really, really refreshing thing for me and for you in our relationship, because we're talking about those little wins.
Yeah. And you know what? You're right, because it does give you motivation to bust through the hard times in your life.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, whatever win that you've had, it might be a personal win. It might be a relational win, whatever win that you've had in the past, like celebrate it, but also memorialize it. So if you come to our house, if you ever want to come and do a marriage intensive with us, where you spend 2 days and we eat very fine food and we dive into a marriage assessment with you, in your guest suite that's off of our garage, you will see a stack of books. Those are books that my brother and I have written, and then Tori and I have written. And I've got this stack of books right here. But you know what? I have that stack of books in like 3 other different places in my house. Do you know why? It memorializes a win for me.
Yes. Yep.
It feels good for me to walk past those books. I look at them and go, I wrote those.
Right.
That feels good.
And I think it energizes you to keep going.
Yes. Or like, the guy who restores a car, take a picture of it and put it on a poster in your man cave, or the woman whose kid just graduated high school.
Yeah.
That's snap a picture of that diploma, or you get that's a win, celebrate it.
I mean, even as things as small as preparing a healthy meal for the family.
That is true.
I really celebrate that now, even if one kid shows up, because our kids are all over the place. And sometimes actually a lot of times we're like, wait, where are you?
Where are you?
We're all sitting down for dinner. Oh, I'm
at Chipotle.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
I hate you.
But it's like, you know what? Sometimes I'll prepare, I even talked about it on that on a podcast recently. I made this, casserole for all of Allie's friends that were home, and, took a couple hours to make, and none of them showed up because they had other plans, which is totally fine. But it's like, you know what? This was really good. This was a good thing that I was able to make this healthy meal, and now it's going to feed Jason and I for the rest of the week.
And in all honesty, that was not as much of a win because I ate so much of it that night because there was so much healthy, there. Babe. I literally felt like the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man. What?
Let's keep it a win because it was a really healthy meal.
Got it.
But as I was thinking about this, I remember growing up, my grandparents, they ran the Christian school and the church that I went to my whole life, and we all were on the same property. And I think one of the things I remember most about their relationship was they celebrated wins together. They were married over 50 years. They had a really, really good relationship. They did everything together. They ran the school, they ran the church, and they just were a really, really good team. Mm-hmm. And they really loved each other. I mean, everybody who knew them, their legacy is that they had a really strong marriage. And I remember they used to take me and my brother out to breakfast at Tony's, which is still one of my favorite. I don't even know if Tony's is still around in Torrington, but one of the best breakfast spots. And I just remember them talking about all these little things that had happened that week and celebrating them. And I remember thinking wow, they're the most positive people ever, because they would be like, wasn't that, they'll talk about a Bible study. Wasn't that amazing what they shared? And I'm so proud of, so-and-so. And I'm just amazed at how they're growing. And they would celebrate everything.
Yeah,
and they were doing it together. And I just think back and I think they really knew how to celebrate the little things and celebrate wins together. And they really had a strong marriage.
That's definitely a good marriage practice. Mm-hmm. Wait, no, I was saying, marriage best practice. So 1, pray together. 2, celebrate wins. What's 3?
3, listen to a book.
Listen to a book together.
Yeah, listen to a book together. And that can be, listen to a podcast together, listen to a book. We do both, but I think just learning together, processing together, dreaming together, all the things that learning through a book or through a podcast or something that you're interested in learning together brings is a really, really good thing for your relationship. Yeah.
It's crazy because a lot of couples have struggled with communication in the past. Mm-hmm. It's like you just veg out and you just watch TV together, but you're really not talking. And then when you are alone, it's like, what do we talk about? If there's not something tactical, like, okay, the kids' games or the kids' schedule or whatever, there's not something tactical to talk about. You don't really know what to talk about. But what Tori and I have discovered, and we really started to dive into listening to books together. If you can listen to them together, if your schedule allows, do that. If you can't, at least both of you can say, okay, hey, let's listen to chapter 1 of that book. Honey, on your way to work, you listen to it. And at some point today, I'll listen to it. And then when you come back together later in the day, that night or whatever, talk about it.
Yeah.
And it gives you stuff to talk about because you're learning together and you're growing together. Tori and I are reading one that our couple friends of ours that we're actually mentoring, Zach and Andy Wooldridge. You guys would actually love them. We need to get both of our couples. We do. Tanner. I'm so bummed that
when Tanner and Brittany were here, we didn't get them on the podcast, but we're going to do it.
We got to do it.
We're going to do it. And then, for sure, Andy and Zach.
Oh, man, you guys would have so much fun. But they told us about this cool book, The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan. And so we're listening to it together, but it's really given Tori and I a lot of good stuff to talk about, which we actually have a point on here we'll get to in just a minute that Dan Sullivan said. But so that's number 3. Listen to a book together. What's number 4, Tor?
Number 4 is find a shared activity.
Yeah.
We have found this to be really, really helpful.
You have to have it.
Yeah. And, we bring a lot of couples through the SYMBIS.
Yeah.
Tell them real quick what the SYMBIS is.
The SYMBIS is a marriage assessment. There's 2 marriage assessments that we use. If you join our coaching program, you're going to go through the Prepare, Enrich assessment. If you go through our mentorship program or our marriage intensive, you will get the SYMBIS assessment. Both of them are incredible assessments, but they basically take a personality profile and they show how you mesh. And it basically puts your marriage on paper.
Yeah.
And we get a chance to dive in and basically dissect you. It's so fun.
Yeah. And one of the things that they talk about, for men and women, knowing the difference between a male and a female and how you're wired and the tendencies, both for male and female.
So politically incorrect.
Yeah, it is. But one of the things that they talk about for a man that, and universally, men really need shared activity with their spouse. It really makes them feel connected. And women really need to feel cherished.
Yeah.
Right. And so those were the 2 differences between a man and a male and a female. But it's what we have found is that doing shared activities has really bonded us.
Yeah. That's actually why I like CrossFit. In all honesty, like CrossFit, I don't go heavy anymore. I don't care about winning. I don't care about even keeping my score. But we do CrossFit because it's set up so that everybody can do the same workout. If you're 400 pounds out of shape, or if you're 180 pounds straight up yoked and ripped, you do the exact same workout. You just do it at different intervals and, and intensity.
Right.
So, but Tori and I do it together because it's set in a group setting. It doesn't matter. It can be Orange Theory. It can be, any of these other popular things. You can just go to a gym together if you want.
Right. But, and there's so many different things that you could do for shared activities.
It doesn't just have to be working out, but
and I think that this really came to mind, through the SYMBIS, okay, Jason really needs shared activity. But what I've learned is I actually really enjoy it. I feel like it has just provided us with a lot more time together, which I'm a quality time girl. And so, I think that I really thought of it as being really important and taking that action because I thought it was something that would be really, really something you would really appreciate. But I actually feel like I benefit just as much, if not more.
It's so awesome how the Lord works that way. Because remember, he's not just your father, he's your father-in-law. So if your father-in-law looks down and sees you doing something nice for his son or daughter, he's like, okay, I'm going to come in and I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
So Tori jumped into some of my shared activity. Now she loves it. I jumped into some of hers and now I love it. The cool thing about that is if you don't know of anything that you guys would enjoy doing together, find something that neither of you have thought about and just do it. Like take dance lessons together. Like go out and there are so many of those little classes where you can go and learn how to ballroom dance. Yeah. Go do that together. Did it work? Did it not work? Did you like it?
Right.
No? Oh, pick something else. But just be proactive and pick something.
Yep. There's one of our shared activities is walking. We walk every day too. And one of the things I really want to do, and I've been saying this for a while, we just got to do it, is pickleball.
Oh, pickleball. I'm scared of blowing my ACL out. Oh. Yeah, we'll do pickleball. Okay, Tor.
All right.
You got my promise.
I think the 3rd time I've said it on a podcast, so let's make it happen, Captain.
Jeez. Okay, pickleball. Number 5.
Number 5, practice verbal gratitude.
Verbal gratitude. Don't just think it, say it.
Yep. It's so easy in marriage to not say thank you for the things that you're thankful for because it's just every day. Mundane. It's the things that you do over and over again. There's no reason to say thank you. There is a reason. Words are really, really powerful.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about the 20-to-1 rule.
Yes.
From Dr. Gottman.
You need it. 20-to-1 rule is for every 1 negative interaction, you need 20 positive interactions. And that's if you want your marriage to grow. If you want your marriage to just stay at equilibrium, then it's 5-to-1.
One of the best ways you can do that is just say the words thank you for the things you're thankful for.
Tori did that for me last night. It was 28 degrees. It was 11:30. Lundy called us from her friend's house. She was going to stay over there. Jake was supposed to pick her up. He didn't. So Tori starts getting out of bed to go pick her up. It's just 2 streets over or 1 street over. But I jumped out of bed. I said, here, I'll go do it. And so I did it. I was frozen solid, got back into the bed, and Tori just goes, "Thanks so much for doing that." And it felt good. And I'm like, "Oh, really? Would you like for me to get a little closer?" No.
How thankful are you?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So that's number 5. But we got it. Let's roll on to number 6. And I like this. This came from Dan Sullivan.
Yeah. So this is the book that Jason and I are reading together.
Yeah.
How old do you think he is? He's
an older guy.
He's got to be in his 70s, or
yeah,
he's older. And I love that. This is one of his practices.
Yeah.
Do one thing every day to make your spouse happy.
Yep.
I loved that.
Simple.
Yeah. He said that he's been married, I don't know, it was like
It's
long
like
time.
50 some years.
60 years. And the guy interviewing him said, like, tell us your best practice. And
yeah,
he mentioned that. And I thought that is really, really good to hear from an older man that he's still thinking about ways to make his wife happy every day.
yeah, and they're still so in love and everything. But just think about that. You would do it for your friend. If you got a really good friend, it's like, I want to do one thing that'll make them happy. Like I just know it. Tori knows that I absolutely love a quarter cup of oatmeal with 3 sunny side up eggs with an apple cut up and blueberries put all into a bowl mixed in with some salt and pepper. She knows it.
And Jason knows I do not like that bowl.
She hates it.
So
she hates it.
I don't mix.
But there are times where I'll
Everything
come
needs to be
home
separate.
from a long trip. You know, I'm literally famished at like 10 o'clock at night, and I'll walk in and Tori might already be cuddled up in bed, but she's got a candle going in the house, no other lights. And here's a bowl of my little famous breakfast mix that she just did.
It makes Jason very happy.
Oh my gosh.
It's not that hard to do. You're kind of easy to please.
I know, right? But she knows, no, here you go, men. She knows that if I'm going to eat that, then I'm going to rinse that bowl out and I'm going to put it back into the dishwasher.
Or you're going to give it to Rocky.
Or I'm going to give it to Rocky and let him lick
It's
it.
got to go in the dishwasher for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So that's number 6. Do one thing that makes your spouse happy. And number 7.
Go to bed together.
Oh, yes.
And this is something I think that just over the years of spending so much time with different couples, if you can go to bed together, it's really a good idea.
It's huge.
It's a good idea. When Jason and I first got married, I'm a night owl. Jason is an early riser.
Yeah.
We're opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really hard to get on the same page. But we noticed that it was really, really important that we do.
Yeah.
Like there were so many times where I would stay up really late, and then the later that I would stay up, the harder it would be for me to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
I had to get onto a better schedule with Jason.
Going to bed together, you might think, oh, that's, we practically can't do that. Granted, there are couples out there that can't practically go to bed together. But if you can sync your schedules so that you do, where you can literally fall asleep holding hands, or however that works for you, snuggle a little bit, but then obviously body heat takes over and then you get too hot. So just fall asleep holding hands or touching or something like that, but you're both together. It's not one of you is asleep and the other one is always watching TV or on your phone.
Right.
It's just not healthy. We're giving you marriage best practices.
Yep.
Things that are best.
Into the same sleeping habits and patterns. If it's possible, it's better.
Yeah, for sure. So let me give you the 7 again. You're going to pray together. You're going to celebrate wins together. You're actually going to pick a book and you're going to listen to it together. And that'll give you a lot to talk about. That helps you process together. Number 4, find a shared activity. And if you don't know exactly what that should be, pick something fun and learn together. Number 5, practice verbal gratitude. Number 6, do one thing that you know will make your spouse happy today. And number 7, try to go to bed together.
Yep.
Sleeping together is a good thing in marriage, I've been told.
Get on the same schedule if at all possible. Okay, before we leave, you guys, I'm going to share a recipe. So Christmas Day, my brother Frankie, who is a food connoisseur,
Yep.
he loves food even more than me, which is saying something. And he walked in. Well, actually, I shouldn't say he walked in because he brought all these wings that were uncooked, and he grilled up these wings. And they were the best wings I think I've ever had. I don't know if I was just starving or what, but they were so good.
They're the second best to the wings that you typically make. But
you like my hot wings better.
They were so good.
These were like fall off the bone. The flavor, it was like real smoky flavor, and it was just from him grilling.
Yeah.
And there was no he didn't even have like his special grill. And it was just amazing. And so I was like, you've got to share this recipe with me. So he did. And I am going to share it with you all. So easy. I mean, it's like the easiest recipe and it is delicious. I really feel like I want to make it at least once a week.
Yeah. No, it was good. I'm great with you making it once a week. So long as the chicken is like good, the good kind.
Yeah. Like organic.
Yeah. You don't get
chicken
that
wings.
Junk chicken.
Yeah. So the key is to marinate the wings in a zesty Italian dressing.
Zesty Italian. Zesty. How long you marinate it?
So I just did it for a couple hours and they were still amazing. He said ideally you want to do it overnight, but if you're just like, I'm craving wings, I'm going to go for this.
Yeah.
Just a couple hours is fine.
Okay.
And then you just grill them and you take lemon pepper, which I used. I'll show you guys the brand that I use. He used a different brand. And honestly, as long as it's a lemon pepper, it is amazing. And butter mixed with butter. And you just grill up those wings and then you baste them in the butter with the lemon pepper.
Yep.
And just cook them for like a good 40 minutes on the grill.
And then get them charred.
Get them kind of charred with the butter.
That's what you want.
Oh my gosh. They're really, really, really good. So I'm going to share that with you guys on Jason Torrey.
Yeah. See, that's the beauty of being married to an Italian. She's got an Italian family and then she wears this, Tori has this shirt that she wears to bed and it's Alfredo's Deli, which is a famous deli in Torrington. This is the best place owned by Alfredo.
Yes.
And anyway, on the back, it said food so authentically Italian.
So authentic.
No, Italian food so authentic that you won't eat with your back to the door.
I love it.
So thank you, Frankie. Good Italian name for that recipe. And you're going to share it.
Yep. I'll share it on our Instagram.
Sweet.
So, all right, guys. This was fun.
Yep. Tori, you did a good job leading. Maybe you should do that more.
Okay. And I think next week we're going to have some guests.
Oh, hopefully.
Let's
make it happen.
I won't even tell you who just in case.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Guys. Bye-bye.